I'm Caleb with the Galactic Table, and today I'm going to do a part 2 reviewing some of my custom figures that I've made. The last time I had a video like this, y'all seemed to enjoy it, so I figured I would go over some more. It's kind of overdue at this point, honestly. Just so you know, down in the description I'll have a recipe for each figure, what my base figure was, and what other figures I used that went into making that custom, as well as any individual sellers and their shops that I went to buy additional items for these figures. I'll have that included too, such as Bounty Supply Co. for the amazing head sculpts. So if you want to try to make any of these figures for yourself, you'll have a good start to it. So the first one I got is my custom Cab Bane from the Bad Batch. He's still not 100% done yet. I really like his look from the Bad Batch. It's probably my favorite appearance of Cad Bane, and the look of his that I like the most. Really liked the shorter brim hat. I know that was kind of a subject of debate with people, but I personally really like the shorter brim hat. I know he had some armor on him. He had armor on his arms and some knee pads, and he's not 100% finished yet because I still need to do some work on his torso. He had, I couldn't tell if it was armor or kind of like a vest or something, but it was pretty decorative looking that was sat over his chest, and I need to do a little just decorative elements on his boots, but I swapped out his feet for stormtrooper feet because they kind of looked more cowboy boot style, and in the Bad Batch you could tell in certain scenes that he has more like classic cowboy boot style boots rather than what he wore during the Clone Wars. But he's a really cool figure. I really like him a lot. Hopefully I'll have him done soon, and whenever he's completely done, then I can show what he looks like then. And hopefully I'll have a Cad Bane from the Book of Boba Fett done at some point. So next, this is a Mandalorian that I made based off of my own Mandalorian cosplay. I really like this figure. The most annoying thing about it though is as I update my cosplay, I have to go back and update this figure too. And actually, if you look, there's my helmet right here. I need to paint the left gauntlet an olive green color, and I need to paint his right gauntlet yellow. And then other than that, he should be about the same as my cosplay. But I think he's a really cool figure. As you can see, I pretty much have turned my Mando cosplay into just a recolored Boba Fett, but you know, he started off completely different. It's taken me almost an entire year, maybe a little more, to get this cosplay together and to how I like it and how it's evolved over time. It's pretty much just recolored Boba Fett. But anyways, I like him a lot, and I felt like he was worth showing in this. So next will be my holiday special Boba Fett. In the last video I had a holiday special Fett. I ended up getting rid of that figure. If you follow me on Instagram, which is Mean Figure Photos all together, you'll know that I do some toy photography and show off some detailed photos of my customs, and I just was never using the holiday special Fett for anything, so I ended up selling it. And then Hasbro showed their Target exclusive Droids Boba Fett, which is the holiday special Fett, and this is after they did the new Return of the Jedi Black Series Boba Fett, the deluxe version. And for some reason, with the Droids Boba Fett, they reused their old sculpt for it. This was a decision I didn't understand. Maybe it was cheaper, but at the same time, they already have the new sculpt on hand, which is so much better, and it just dwarfs the quality of the previous sculpt. So why they chose to use that previous sculpt to release this Droids Boba Fett was beyond me. So, while I felt like I didn't need another holiday special or Droids Boba Fett in my collection, I just had to show Hasbro how it's done. So what I did was I purchased the new Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. I got the holiday special head sculpt from Bounty Supply Co. on Etsy. They have a ton of cool sculpts and customizable accessories and objects and heads, all for 1/12 size figures, and they work really well on Black Series. They've got the new Cad Bane sculpt, which I plan to get pretty soon too, and it will be from them. So I'm really proud of how this holiday special Boba Fett came out. I removed some details of his gauntlets that are not there in the holiday special, and I think he came out really good. So I'm really happy with this. I also used an X-Acto knife to cut down his pants. In the cartoon, his boots look a lot taller and his pants are tucked into them rather than, you know, being over the boots with the ankle spats. I pretty much just cut and cut away and carved away at his leg until I had something that looked about right. Alright, moving on. Next is probably the one figure that I'm the most proud of as far as my customs goes, and that is an Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett, completely updated version. You know, Hasbro's old sculpt was the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett, and then when they came out with their new deluxe figure, it was the Return of the Jedi Fett. You know, I don't want to lose subscribers and I don't want to start nothing on here, but I gotta say the Empire Strikes Back look is probably my least favorite Fett look. It's iconic, it's classic, but it's just, I don't know, I just feel like there's too much green going on or something. So I've always liked the Return of the Jedi look better, because the red and stuff in his jetpack, it kind of breaks up all the green. Series of green gauntlets, green jetpack, green armor, there's just a lot of green. When I read War of the Bounty Hunters, he sports his ESB look, and I loved War of the Bounty Hunters, and as soon as I read that comic, I knew I had to make an ESB Fett, and it had to be just as good, if not better, than the new deluxe Return of the Jedi Fett. So the recipe for this figure was I got the old sculpt ESB style Black Series Boba Fett, and then I bought the new Return of the Jedi deluxe Boba Fett. What I like most about this custom and why I'm so proud of it is it looks like I just Frankensteined it, like I took, you know, the gauntlets and the jetpack and the cape off of the old sculpt and put it onto the new one, but I did so much more than that. So I took his cape, I took his jetpack, I took his gauntlets, and I took his belt, and that's everything I took from the old figure, along with the Wookiee scalps, because those are a different color on ESB than they are Return of the Jedi. So we got the Wookiee scalps as well, but I also repainted a whole bunch on this figure. I left all the green as it was, as it came, but I added in the yellow paint chipping. I added in a ton of additional silver, exposed, you know, Beskar showing, and I went through so many reference pictures and tried to match all the battle damage and colors as best I could. His right shoulder armor and his knee pads are almost orange, actually. I know we associate it with yellow, but they're almost orange. And then the left shoulder armor with the Mythosaur skull is more of the yellow, and it has white paint scuffing on it that I tried to emulate on there. The back of the helmet has, you know, different grays and some tans and just some weird color variations going on. There's some more weird just white paint marks around the helmet as well. The kill stripes go from yellow to orange rather than in Return of the Jedi where they're just all orange. So I tried to do that fade of yellow to orange, so I did just so much additional paint work to this figure to try to get it as close to Empire Strikes Back as possible. I cut the cape down because it was a little bit too long, and so that's why I'm so proud of this figure and how it came out, and it's my ultimate ESB Fett, and I'm really happy to have it in my collection, and he's great for taking photos with. Moving on once again down the timeline to Return of the Jedi. This is the new Return of the Jedi deluxe figure that Hasbro released, and he was already pretty good. One of the biggest controversies when this figure first came out was the helmet, because if you don't know, under that sculpt is just a blank Tamara Morrison head sculpt, and the helmet is glued onto it, so that head sculpt is unpainted, and because that helmet is glued on and it's not a solid helmet, it got really badly warped in packaging. Almost everybody got a warped head, and it was squeezed really narrow, and it was terrible looking. But if you soak that helmet in hot water just for 30 seconds or so and kind of flatten it out, you'll see that it's actually a really, really good head sculpt. That's just the fact that it gets warped, and that upset a lot of people, but I think the sculpt looks really, really good once you fix it. One thing I did on this figure that I did not do for my ESB one is I removed the helmet from that head sculpt, and I painted his face, and I tried to do it as good as possible. I'm not good at painting skin tones and eyes and stuff, so it was really hard for me to do it. So I know his head doesn't look that great with the way I painted it, but I did as best I could, and I think it passes. Aside from that, I did the yellow paint chipping underneath the green that we see. Just like I did on the ESB Fett, I gave him a soft goods cape because that plastic cape that comes with him is just terrible. So I got some green denim-like material to give him a soft goods cape. Another thing I learned was from Kaminoan Customs, and he suggested putting this elastic bands on the back of the knee pads and cutting the knee pads loose from the leg, and that just looks really, really good, I think. And it just, I don't know, it adds a level of realism to it. I painted his ankle spats a different color from his pants. Just added some additional weathering to him. If you look, the two pouches hanging off his belt in the movie, one on the left is a lighter beige color and the one on the right is a darker brown, so I painted that. I will include a link to Kaminoan Customs tutorial on how to get this figure up to snuff if you want to get your Return of the Jedi Boba like this, because his tutorial goes really far. He actually did a lot more work on his figure than I did on mine, and even repainting the armor and everything. I didn't do that on mine. That's probably my second favorite figure behind this, which is ironic because Return of the Jedi look is my favorite look, but just the love that I put into this one has kind of made this my favorite figure now. And last but not least is my Book of Boba Fett style Boba Fett figure. There's a lot of Fett in this video, I know. Let's get into him. So this was a figure I had made of Boba as we saw him in The Mandalorian, but I was never too happy with how that one came out, so I decided to rework him into Book of Boba Fett style. I used the Return of the Jedi Deluxe Black Series Boba Fett to make him as well. You can see I've burned through a lot of those. I also separated the helmet from the blank head sculpt on there and painted it. Once again, I'm not a good head painter, so you know, I know he doesn't look perfect, but I got it as best as I could. Repainted the armor, the helmet, and everything, trying to get the details as correct as possible. A lot of soft goods on here. He has a soft goods shirt, a soft good neck piece, and you know, the skirt or the kama. Made sure to add in this little pocket right here that he has on his pants. And the only thing I'm really not happy with on this figure is the brown leather around his legs. He has these weird boot gaiters that he wears, and you know, I've had this really thin leather, and I took an X-Acto and shaved down his legs, and it just, I don't know, it just doesn't look very good to me. That was one of the same issues I had on the Mando style Boba Fett, was the black gaiters. I just had a really hard time getting the shape right and getting them to look right. Aside from that, I did additional painting on his jetpack to try to get it to match the show as well, and I think it came out pretty good. Partly because I'm not 100% happy with this figure is why I don't do a whole lot of photography with him. I usually just use these two Fetts for my photography, but you know, he still makes it in there. These are all the customs I have to show for now. If y'all want more, I'll show some more, and perhaps whenever I start tackling a Book of Boba Fett style Cad Bane, I'll do a tutorial for that. And that should be pretty fun, or whatever custom I take on next, I'll try to do a tutorial for it. Anyways, that's all I got. I hope you like these. I hope they were exciting, and I like showing them to y'all. And based on the last video, y'all seem to like it. So that's all I have today. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you next time.